Hey guys, what's up? I was having, sun's so bright on the side. I was having a talk with my friend the other day, and he was saying that, like, oh my God, I think I've gone too far down the rabbit hole. I'm paraphrasing, right? I don't remember exactly what he said because he's probably gonna watch this and be like, I didn't exactly say that, but I'm saying, like, you get to a point where you start, I think, what is it called, like the Socratic method, when you start asking questions and those questions lead to more answers and then those answers lead to more questions, and so when you start questioning things and you go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, it can get very dark and very depressing because you really find out that you've been lied to about everything. And I would hear people say that. I'm like, oh, come on, a lot of stuff. Well, first it started off, it was just that one thing. And it was like, dang, we were lied about that too. Dang, we've been lied to about a lot of stuff. And then you're like, damn, we've been lied to about everything. It's like it goes in tears, right? But, and then, I don't know, when I first was going through this, I would say that I went through depression for a bit, and I think a lot of people do. It's like, I always compare it to, if you look up Elizabeth Kubler-Ross Stages of Death, and it's like, let me see if I remember. It's anger, denial, bargaining, and then acceptance. I'm missing one. I know somebody, and you guys are smart, I know somebody in the comments knows. I just forgot. This guy's like giving me the finger because I'm not going fast enough. He's like, what? I'm making a YouTube video, dude. Don't have time for your speeding. Sorry, just kidding. Anyway, yeah, but it's the 5 stages of death, and I feel like I always say that I can compare my experience of so and so waking up. Now that was waking up. That was back in my day. We used to call it waking up, but now we call it being red pilled. But for me, there are people that are woke, but I say they're like diet woke, if you've ever heard of that phrase. And the diet wokeness really comes to people that kind of just maybe find out one thing and they kind of stay on one tier and they don't want to go deeper. And they're not really, I wouldn't call those people true seekers. They're just, maybe they wanted to satisfy something or later. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of curiosity. It takes a lot of work to be able to really want to find the truth. And there are just some people that are, I would say, frankly, just really lazy, that don't want to go down that rabbit hole. B, they're very, they're cowards. They're cowards. Or, a lot of it, I would say it involves self-work, or self-work, right? Because you actually have to have a lot of self-worth to want to do the self-work, because I also find out too, once you kind of start researching and, asking questions and want to know more, you have to really wake up to the fact that you've been fooled and you've been bamboozled, and a lot of people's ego can't take it. And then you have to forgive yourself. I wouldn't say it's your fault. I think a lot of people feel stupid, because they're like, oh, how come I didn't know this, or how come I didn't, see this, or how come I didn't figure it out? Well, don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. You have to forgive yourself, because I think it is a noble thing to want to trust the people in power, people in authority, the media, the scientific cartel, the academic, that scientific and academia industrial complex, the military, any one of these big machines that you found out that you've been lied to about. It's natural, because I think most people want to do good. They want to believe that other people are doing good, and not everybody is doing bad. It's just that because a lot of stuff is compartmentalized, a lot of people end up doing bad thinking they're doing good, if that makes sense. Right? So they're like for instance, I always talk about with doctors of vaccines. I don't think like the doctors are plotting and they're in on it, but I think what happens is that the pharmaceutical industries control the curriculum of the medical schools. They give funding to the medical schools, and they decide what goes into the curriculum, and they decide what stays out of the curriculum, and they put doctors in debt, so that hundreds of thousands of death, almost $500,000 or maybe more, So they're technically indentured servants. So they're dependent on, they're not making a lot of money until they paid off their debt, which is maybe like a decade or so later. So they're dependent on, kickbacks from the pharmaceutical industry and any other, money that they can get, kickbacks from insurance companies paying them to for their vaccines that they give patients, stuff like that. So they're not like, I don't think most of them are, consciously, maliciously plotting against people. But when you have a system that's set up like that, that's what happens. That's what yields. That's what it yields, right? Now, I think there are some psychopath doctors too that don't care. And there are also people that, the way our society is set up, we've been brainwashed to appeal to authority, to not question these people, and to even ridicule or lambaste other people that, question them or get harsh with them. I've even been told, oh, how can you speak to him that way? He's a doctor. Well, he's a person. He's not, God. But there are people that think that, So, you have that. And that's just one system. That's just a system that I could, bring up. But anybody, people with master's degrees, PhDs, celebrities, we worship these people as if they're infallible and they don't make mistakes, or they can't make mistakes, or they're benevolent. Just because you're intelligent doesn't mean that you're benevolent. And I think a lot of people confuse intelligence with benevolence, which is absolutely one of those things, or both of those things have nothing to do with each other at all. All right, you can be intelligent and you can be benevolent, and you can be intelligent and you can be benevolent. So it doesn't matter, right? So, when I worked for Lyft, I was driving this guy. I drove two people on two different occasions, and one was a white guy and one was a black woman, and they both were in law school. And they both were telling me how they went into law school with good intentions, and they wanted to help, people and do pro bono work, and now they're both in so much debt that they have to take a job at a huge law firm just to pay off the debt before they can even begin to start helping the people that they wanted to help. That's the whole system. All these systems are set up like this, right? I was talking to an economist, the same thing, right? He wants to, and I was talking to another guy who wanted to be a city planner. I always talk about the bad lived experiences, but I've had some pretty interesting conversations, and I met some pretty cool people too. And I was talking to a guy who wanted to be a city planner, and he was like, yeah, I want to do green cities, I want to do this, I'm going to clean this up. And he was like, once I got into it, I realized, all the bureaucracy, and I have to have permission to do this, and it's a lot of, tied up with politics and agenda. And I was like, yeah, man, So there are a lot of people that go into wanting to do these jobs with good intentions, but they don't realize that there's a bigger malevolent plan in place to keep us dumbed down, to keep us, enslaved, so to speak. So going back to the whole, I think most people want to do good. Most people want to trust people. And then when you find out that, that we've been lied to about a lot of stuff, it gets really depressing, and you go through anger, and you go through denial. Like, first stage is denial, then it's anger, then it's bargaining, then it's fear. Maybe it's fear was one of them, and then it's acceptance. And once you get to acceptance, I think that you will be okay. But my thing was with my friend, I was like, you need to take a break. You need to take it like Conspiracation. You need to you need to walk away from this stuff, because I've had to do that too. You can't, it makes you kind of crazy. You do kind of end up becoming that guy with the tinfoil hat. And yeah, I think that, once you start looking at a lot of this stuff, you need to walk away from it for a while and process some of it. And you also need to do stuff that isn't conspiracy related, or isn't even politics related, right? Like, you need to get go paint some pictures, go write some music, go watch some movies, go for a bike ride, go travel, go spend time with people you love. Because I think you can get too wrapped up in this stuff to the point where you forget what you're fighting for. You forget why you're fighting. And you don't want to be that person, you know. And you don't want to be in a state of mind where you're not mentally stable, because that's what they want too. They want you to be so overwhelmed that you just give up, right? They want you to be so overwhelmed that you forget what you're fighting for, why you're here, that you have another purpose or bigger purpose. I think we all kind of have a purpose. There's a purpose for us to be here. And, you know, it's true, yes, we're being attacked from all sides, but I think it's also true that we are human beings, and we're meant for bigger things. We're meant for better things. And, you know, I focus so much on like vaccines, the medical industry, when the conspiracy stuff, because I have a personal connection to it, and I feel that's my calling. I can't, you know, get into the geoengineering, chemtrails. I know about that, and I try and inform myself as much as I can about all the other things that are going on, but I can't possibly know everything. And that's another thing you have to realize. You can't possibly know everything, and you don't have the time to research everything. So focus on what you feel like you can do something about and change, and be open to other people who are doing the same thing. Like all my friends that I've made since, you know, we start doing this channel and this podcast in 2011, they all kind of have their specific areas, if that makes sense. Like I have a friend that, you know, knows about politics and law and governments, and I have another friend that knows about, you know, that knows about geoengineering, and I have another friend that knows about this and that. And I think what you have to do is find what you're passionate about. If you're like a gardener, you know, you can, what are some solutions? You can teach people how to garden, to grow their own food. And you can also teach them about the dangers of geoengineering and chemtrails. Because if you're somebody that's dealing with growing stuff and you're really into it, you probably know about geoengineering, because the shit that they're spraying in the sky is directly affecting your food. So what can you do to do that? Like, you know, while we still have freedom of speech, you know, there are all these laws going by. I think Rhode Island, they just put a bill, they passed a bill to stop geoengineering because it's affecting like their crops and their environment, and they know, right? How about 5G? Do you know anything about 5G? Are you a scientist? If you're not a scientist, do you like science and stuff? Do you know about that technology? Were you in the military? Do you have any input? Like, we all have pieces of the puzzle that we can use to stop this, right? We have to realize that there are way more of us than there are of them. It's supposed to be like 1%. And when what they're doing, they're manipulating us against each other. Like, you know, you take global warming, for instance, now, or climate change. Now it's climate change. It used to be global warming before they got caught with the Climate Gate, saying that anyway, you guys should look up Climate Gate. What's his name? James Corbett. He did look up, like, Google James Corbett Climate Gate. He does a really good breakdown on Climate Gate and the global warming stuff. But I believe that we have a pollution problem. I believe that we don't recycle our resources to the best of our ability. I believe that we have an epidemic of materialism and buying stuff and cutting stuff up and not replenishing the earth back to where it needs to be. I think we need to clean up our oceans and our lakes and our rivers and the water supply, and, you know, we need to be, you know, better to animals and the environment, and we need to cut out all this 5G. I think and stop spraying shit in the sky. I think that's what's causing the climate to change, or weird, odd weather patterns, as opposed to people just breathing CO2 into the air and the sun being bright. Like, that's ridiculous to me. So but the thing is, right, when you say that you don't believe in climate change, they cut the conversation off there. They don't really give you an explanation to explain why you don't believe in climate change. I think my reasoning was very, you know, I have good reasoning for why I don't believe what I believe, but, you know, they're just going to automatically be like, oh, you don't care about the earth. You think we should all pollute just everywhere. You're just a Republican, and I'm just like, I'm not, like, what are you talking about? Like, I think most people can get behind the fact, you know, that we don't want pollution, and we want a cleaner place to live, and we want a better environment. I think most people can agree with that. But, you know, they make it hard for us to have these conversations. by manipulating everything, and the main way they do that is through the media and through Hollywood, right? Through celebrities, through Leonardo DiCaprio telling you that, making you feel guilty about your carbon footprint while he flies around in his his private jet. Same thing with Al Gore, right? Do as I say, not as I do, right? But we're supposed to feel guilty. Like these people that talk about open borders, but they're not living by the border. It's gonna affect the poor communities. It's not gonna affect these virtual signaling, assholes who are so disconnected from the real world. They have no clue what they're talking about. So, yeah, man, you guys gotta take a break. Like, even, turn off my notifications. I'm not getting, I'm not making money. I'm not making a living off of this channel. So I won't take it personally, But I just don't think that, you need to be wrapped up in this all the time. A, don't be wrapped up in this all the time. And B, once you know what you know, though, you can't unsee what you saw. So you got to figure out a way that you can help people, whether you are waking people up or maybe not waking people up, but trying to find solutions or giving people information or supporting people that do give information out and help people. There's so many different ways that you can do it. I love it when people tell me they want to start a channel, but that's not for everybody. Not everybody likes being on camera and having their business out there, having their face out there. So if you're not that type of person, you can still have a powerful impact. How are you going to impact the world as you see it now, right? So that's it, yo. I hope that this didn't go too long. I guess I was gonna go long, but I think that I hope that it wasn't too noisy while I was driving. But I just wanted to put that out there. Let me know what your awakening experience has been like. I'm very curious to know. I probably won't be able to answer the comments until tomorrow, but I'm gonna upload this once I get to my next stop, and then I'll have some time tomorrow to read. But yeah, guys, I love you guys, and I know it's not easy. I know it's hard. I wanted to put that out there for you guys, for you newbies that are waking up to this and stuff. And it's a journey. It's a journey. It's a struggle. It's hard to find like-minded people. It's hard to find people that are open, that you can talk about these things with. I know, And then sometimes I think that, I get mad about that. I'm like angry. I'm like, God, I wish I've found some people around me, but not a lot of people are all in different places around the world. So it's like, sometimes I think maybe it's supposed to be like that. Maybe it's supposed to just be a few people that are awake, but our mission is to help, inspire and encourage people that aren't awake, So this is my theory. I don't have any proof of this, but I think it's, well, you know what? I was gonna say it's probably 1%, like say 1% of people who are the malevolent people who are trying to control us, and I would say it's about 1% of people that are awake. But I honestly think now it's more than 1% of people that are awake. Now that I've thought about it, and that's why they're trying to censor. That's why they're trying to roll out this 5G. I don't know, y'all. What are you gonna do about it? Now that you have the gift, is it a gift? I think it's a gift. It doesn't seem like it sometimes, because you're like, God, you watch The Matrix. That movie has more meaning to me now than it did when it first came out. I will say that. Like sometimes, do you want to take a blue pill for a steak? Right? I feel more empowered knowing the information I know. I don't get so, I see the news media and the games that they play to keep people in fear. I don't get like riled up like I used to. I just see the script that they're using, because they never really change it, and I just kind of watch other people, lose their minds, and try and calm as many people down as I can. But I was gonna say one more thing. Oh yeah, turn off the news. Don't watch the news. Honestly, I haven't had a TV in over 10 years. I find out stuff. I kind of check in here and there, but through the internet. But I try and turn off my news notifications. I don't go on Facebook as much anymore. And you know, I go on to check stuff on our page and to keep in touch with a few friends that I have that, you know, are all over the world, but I'm not on it all the time. And that's another mechanism that they use to drive you crazy. They want to drive you crazy. Just remember that. If it's something important that you need to know, trust me, you'll find out about it, okay? You don't have to be checking in every day, all right? The Democrats, they're always fucking crazy. It's not really anything new, you know? I'm not like, oh, wow, okay, well, okay, again, yeah, well, we know they're like that. You know, we know the politicians are crazy. We know that. So I don't have to be reminded of it every day. It just makes me more angry and more disgusted, right? I need my vital force, my vital energy for more important things. When 9/11 happened, I remember there was this homeless guy was like, oh my God, you know, he was walking around outside. He's like, they're blowing up, you know, Newark. I was like, how do you know? You don't have a TV. Like somebody told him. I was like, you're homeless. You don't have a radio, you don't have a TV. The internet wasn't out yet. Like, how do you know this? You know? And he was like, oh, so-and-so told me, we were talking about it. And I was like, oh, okay. If it's that groundbreaking or ground shaking, you will find out. People will tell you. And you know what really sucks? I hate to say this because I don't want to dismiss the people that died in the, you know, at 9/11, but in a sense too, it was a terrible thing that happened, but it also was a really good feeling of unity and patriotism in this country that I have not felt before. And people actually like were talking to each other on the street and looking out for each other. It was crazy. I never felt so bonded as a country. Not that I don't want anything that bad to happen again, you know, but I don't know. Maybe that's what has to happen in order for us to come together. Who knows? But that's it. All right. That was getting too long, but yeah, guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace, bye-bye. Mwah.